I want to show a quick demo about Xenial layout builders. There had been a lot of stuff going on for those people that don't know it yet or don't follow. Xenial is the part, or my commercial part on extensions, on all kind of stuff related around XF framework, but not only. There's a lot of stuff going on: layer builders, tokens, extensions, columns. Everything is focused more or less around code and best practices, but it's mixing in all in together. I showed the last time model builders, and today I want to show layout builders, which is a way to build your layouts in code and not in the designer or no, the model editor. And I also want to show off, there is the docs. I am not sure if they were online the last time. There are a lot of topics. It's nearly not finished, but it's like all the kind of stuff I can't describe in the feature center. There's also the feature center for all guys who are more interested in more visual stuff, like the editor stuff, token editors, HTML, web URI, and the badges, of course, as you see here. There's a lot of stuff, and it's getting added up all the time. But the hard part is how to show model builders without documentation or non-visual stuff. And the non-visual stuff is like 60% of Xenial. So that's why I focused on docs in the last time, and I showed the model builders approach in the last time. So it helps you adding metadata. Helps you adding metadata to your business classes and your classes without having to write attributes on top of your business objects or domain objects, as you call it. Next thing, and the next step is like layout builders. It's like a DSL, how you can write layouts in code so they are refactoring safe, so you don't break your application or your application's layout if you need to refactor or rename your application, or at least get an indicator if you refactor your code or rename your code, how much impact it might have on your application. And I am just currently, we're looking at a person class, like it would be always. So this is a person class. We have like a person with a first name and a last name, image, address 1, address 2, an address collection, and a secondary class. It's the address sublist. So it's a aggregated collection. And I'm just going to copy that kind of stuff. So it's just for the demo sakes. And I am just going to start off with a new file, new project. If it does allow me to do, oh, there, no, it doesn't. Oh, there it is. And I just choose the DevExpress 20.2.6 solution wizard. I'm going to XPO right now with no authentication, with no modules at all. And it's just a standard XF Blazor application. No worries, this stuff works with Blazor as well as with WinForms, as well as with web forms, so the old web stack. But I would not recommend you to go to the web forms route if we have something that awesome as Blazor is, especially if you're starting a new project. So let's Visual Studio think a little bit. I need to close this a little bit up. I have prepared a couple of solutions if my studio dies or something like this, so don't worry too much. Okay. We don't need the introduction because we are experts. And I'm stopping this because on my machine, IIS Express is not cooperating. So we are starting up with an empty blank XF solution. There's nothing in there. Would be empty. And there's one thing I hoped it would be working across sessions, but it don't. So that's why my machine is dying almost. I'm sorry about that. Because it's loading symbols for all the stuff. It just takes some time. Oh, I need to clear that symbol cache. It's horrible. Oh, come on. Sorry. Debug. Symbols. No. Wrong button. No.
Yeah, I think that was a huge mistake.
Oh, I think it was huge. I thought it was kill it. Oh no! Why is it loading all the symbols? Okay, there it goes. I'm sorry. That's if you're super prepared. So it's an MPXF application, nothing there. Okay, that's fine. So we are going to copy all that code, and it's just an XPO class, so nothing special here. Well, oh, I think I might know, but I will leave this open. So we have our server. So we need this in our module because we want to share our business code. Even if this is XAF only, I am adding a new class. And I'm just copy pasting it, and there's some stuff missing here. For expanding the object members, it's just a bug in my docs, and there's the type member missing in here. So I'm going to add this real quick. This is when you're doing with your own stuff and your own documentation, then you have to fix that stuff that normally support center will deal with. No. Type second ref, and then okay, we're fine. And then we can just persist this as well. And because we are nice, we can.
You forgot comma.
Oh, thank you.
That's extreme programming at the best.
That's extreme programming. Okay, and now we should be set. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, and we don't rename this shit because we don't rename files in Austria. Every classes in Austria are called class1.cs.
By the way, how do we pronounce it?
Oh no!
Class?
Of course I forgot to do the most important stuff, and it's declaring it as a default class options or a navigation item thing, so we can see something in the navigation options or in the navigation. What was your question, Dennis?
While we are waiting, how do you pronounce class in Austria? Like class or?
Klasse, but nobody says that. Nobody says that. It's like nobody in German talks any programming. They started in the 90s or something like this, trying to do Germanified stuff. Like a class is like a Klasse and an object is like an object, but they stopped, and I'm very happy about it. So, okay, you can see it's basically the normal layout we get from XAF if you do that kind of stuff. I know there are the new attributes where you can tweak the layout, but the thing is, basically, that's what you get if you are doing it the naive way, for example. And of course, I can now switch into the model editor and drag stuff around. So it's basically showing you the same layout, views, and then the demo, and then we have the detail view for this, and the person detail view for this, and then we go into layout, and we have like the same layout we saw before. And because we done the expand object members, it's getting a little bit messy. Nevertheless, there is an option for that, at least for if you use Xenial. So at the time of this writing, it's like Xenial framework. And right now, Xenial is always on the latest version that is officially available. So that doesn't stand anything besides here. It's like 22.6. So at the time I support more versions, or we support more versions, we are lowering the boundaries on the versioning. So you have a better feeling what DevExpress version will correspond to the framework version. But nevertheless, I just install. Okay, that's fine. I need to go into the module to tell the XAF framework to use Xenial, and the layout builders, and that's a key design feature of Xenial. Instead of having to add a whole module with everything in it, you can pick and choose. And we now pick and choose just the model builders, the layout builders. So I'm going to add a generator updater. And this is, of course, in the docs as well. So we go here, blah, 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 and then we go to the simple layout. You can see I'm doing basically exactly the same thing. I'm overriding the generator updaters. And now I'm adding this extension method to the mix. So I'm going to updaters, use detail view layout builders. Okay, now we enable the builders. And now the next thing we need to do is we need to define an attribute. And I'm just copy and pasting it. And I'm just following along the docs, because I'm no coding hero at all, or keyboard hero. And what this says is like, okay, this is the detail view layout builder attribute, and it's following a convention. So there is this, can you read this stuff? Can I zoom in on that somehow? No. Okay, I can do this. I can zoom that, and then I can do Paint. Oh God, I need to install Zoom it on this machine. Can you read this?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. This assumes blah that is compatible with the build layout functor. And the build layout functor is just a delegate that returns a layout. And normally it should also say that the method should be called build layout somewhere. No. No, it was an example. I'm not sure that stripes it out, but nevertheless, it's talking about that if you have a function that is called build layout and it's static and it returns a layout and you have this attribute, then it will build your layout from this method. And to prove it, I just started, and now we should see an empty layout. Okay, with the person, and that's the new, and now it's empty. Okay, so not very special right now, but that also means it doesn't interfere anymore. If you're adding new properties or something like this is like the golden master for your layout, but you also can use the model designer to add stuff later. Okay, now follow along the docs, and we want to have our layout to look something like this. And now we have all the kind of stuff that's going on with horizontal groups and how the property editors are aligned with each other. And now we have these tabs that are going on, and we have two tabs that are the same, and we have the list view that is going on. And I'm just going and copy this layout, and don't be totally scared, because the code might be long, but it's rather self-explanatory. And it's getting shorter. So we have to import a couple of namespaces. Okay, so, and I will follow along with what's going on. And I think in 5 minutes we're done. So I'm following through when this is loading, and just don't get me wrong. So we have our image editor here that's not perfect in Blazor. We have our full name, first name, last name, email, street, city, postal code, state, province, country, and now we have here the exact same thing, but with the secondary address, and now we have our list view. Okay, and to show you that this isn't a foolproof joke, I have here the exact same solution, but in WinForms. And here we have like the image, full name, first name, last name, secondary, primary. You can see some differences, like oh, that was for differently. No, okay. This is Blazor is much more intelligent than WinForms. What the labels are more intelligent. You can't do this in WinForms. But nevertheless, the layout is exactly the same. And that's basically how you can apply the layouts. But the neat thing is, like, this is a very, 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 very verbose syntax. You have to say what is going on. I want to have a horizontal group and the layout property editor and the vertical group and then layout property editor and the horizontal group and blah, blah, blah. It's really, 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 really verbose. And if you have worked with the model editor so far, yeah, tools edit, it's basically structuring all the tree in this kind of horizontal item, layout group item, and yada, 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 yada. And I'm going into this in detail in the docs with how this is structured. So vertical layout group is like, this is like vertically stacked, and then we have horizontal stacked and empty space, how all the layered structures. But there's the one big thing that is really hard to do in the model editor is, for example, those two tabs are basically exactly the same, or should be exactly the same. And they are perfectly exact the same, but one is for one and two is for two. And you can't do this easily in the model editor. You can do it in the tree structure, but you can't do this really easily with drag and drop in your in the model editor. And also, they both should look the same. So I'm switching back to my solution 13. And you can see we have like one primary address and we have a secondary address, and those are basically totally the same. And we don't want to repeat ourselves. But the only thing that is changing is this number part. So it's address 1 and address 2. So, okay, let's go into that real quick. Refactoring, we can just write a method. And we will do this. Because it's all written in C#, there's nothing special. The only difference is we pass a parameter that passes the first part of the address group. So it's address 1 or address 2 in our case. And we can just copy over those two parts. So we can get rid all of like 80 lines of code or something like this, and replace it with a couple of ones. And it will basically look the same. Don't need to restart it because it is the same. So we can, if you have more repeatable structures or structures that are more where you have to repeat yourself, or where you have nesting a lot of going on, or inheritance, for example, then this can really help to speed up your development and getting your more consistent results. The next thing you have is like, it's always splitting in even parts. If this makes a sense. For example, we have here like two editors, and now it's taking up 50 and 50% of the space. If we do 3, then we have 30, a fraction of the space. If we do 4, then we have 4/4 of the space. So
and now we just need hot reload for that, Manuel.
Oh yes, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. If it starts, where it is? It started on the wrong screen. Thank you. And there it is. So it's basically the same. We didn't change anything. And the last thing is, this is like a really hard syntax to learn, because you need to know what to new up and all that kind of stuff. And there is and you probably know, I love builders, and I love when the IntelliSense guides you through some kind of stuff. So there's also this more Flutter-like syntax where you have like a more consistent layout, or a more consistent syntax that helps you guide through all the kind of options you have. So you can say, I have an empty space item, and horizontal group, and horizontal tab, blah, 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 blah. All the options you have, like view items, property editor, control items, all that kind of stuff. Instead of remembering or looking up all the details, you need to follow up with newing up new objects. It helps you and guides you through all that syntax noise, more or less. So it's like nested functions. And it's a lot more denser, especially in those parts where you don't have a lot of options you have to set. But, and this does basically exactly the same, and we didn't refactor this out. And the neat thing is you can still have refactoring safe code here. So if I say, okay, that isn't address 1, or this is primary address, I can do. And your layout still works. It doesn't break your stuff, especially if you have a lot of nesting. Or sometimes you have a lot of nesting. And the last part I wanted to show about the layout builders, and it's like 2 minutes and then it's over, is because nothing changed visually. It's just the syntax that changed. It will not, oh, it always the same, wrong. And it totally looks the same. Of course, it produces the same result because the syntax itself just produces the same object graph. And for the very, very brave ones, and I am not going to show this live right now because there is a little bit of, or is there a little bit of wriggling? We can just try. It is Blazor. So we can use the new syntax from .NET 9, I guess. So the new thing that is coming with .NET 6, 9, I don't, and we can use record syntax to really help write more fluent syntax, especially if you are going to, okay, no, I need to replace that all. Yeah, and now it's yelling at me. That's fine. Let's do the no, I show it just in the other solution.
Language version.
Yeah, it's the language version, and we need to settle a bit. If it was .NET 5 with 21.1, I tried it. It works out of the box. Where's my layout thing? Oh, and of course it works with model builders as well. Of course, so you can combine it with model builders as well, and just do this away. Okay, let's do a really quick layout builder, digital layout builder. And now I just copy all the stuff. And then I need to import way less namespaces, because that's the neat thing about functional style. You don't need to import any a lot of namespaces, because you just need to import the namespaces the compiler don't know the types of. And now you can see it's like mixing up all this kind of stuff, but it's always the with expression. So it's the property editor is returning a property editor, but you're adding those properties. So this is this new immutable record style. And I think it makes a really neat combination between readability and usability from a developer perspective, because you have real breakpoints and functions and all that kind of stuff. So, and basically that's it. And last one, that's for the ultra brave, you can mix them. So you can go with expressions and with expressions, and then do newing up stuff in the middle between, and then do like the lambda stuff in between. So basically the thing is, we are just building a huge object graph. And that also means you can do like for eaches, loops, if else, all kind of stuff, if you have to. And it's just the last 2 bits. It's just how to build the layout, not how to use, where it all can be really, really important and useful for your applications. Okay. I hope this wasn't too confusing. Any
It's
questions?
really nice. It's really nice. I liked the second approach more.
Yeah, everybody tells me, oh, this first syntax was nice. Alex was telling me, oh no, he wants to write it like, and it's even, of course, it is possible. You can go and say, okay, I don't do this approach. You can go the old route of, after all, and I'm just going, doing a back to this arrangement, and this thing, and I say var layout. This new layout, and I say, okay, var property editor, first name is new layout property editor item, and there's a name of, and I say first name, and I say layout. Oh my God. So my keyboard is not, and I say add, and I'm adding this, and now I return the layout, and I think this should work. And what will happen? It will be a layout with just one property editor in it. And this time I don't miss the, and now of course it opens on the right screen. So you also can write it this way, if you're happy with it. Ta-da! So it's imperative style. So it's basically turning upside down the tree, and you can do all kind of stuff. Okay.
Nice. Okay. That was a lot to cover.
Okay.
A lot of information. It's really nice.
That's the hard part. Let's stop my screen sharing.
No, but the second approach is definitely really nice when you can put the object that you have, and it can give you intelligence for the properties and everything else. So, Hoche, I think that is your turn.